Hello, race fans. My name is Joe Samriego, and welcome to Grid Live. I'm hosting today with Kobe Lambeth from the Podium Finish. Kobe, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Joe. How are you?
Oh, super excited. I know it's race day. I mean, we got NASCAR. It's been a long 7 weeks, and Grid Live is back on the air. It's been a while, so we're super excited to have some good car racing action today. How about you? How are you feeling about everything today?
Last night, I could hardly sleep. Actually, I actually couldn't fall asleep until like 6 a.m. this morning because it felt like Christmas Eve. When you're a little kid and you're waking up and you're so excited to open your Christmas present on Christmas morning and you can't go to sleep. That's how I felt. I felt like a little kid because it's been 2 long months without racing. It was like another off season, something we never expected in our lives due to this pandemic, and it just feels so refreshing, like Christmas Day, that NASCAR is finally back and is back at the Lady in Black, Darlington Raceway.
Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. I know that's going to be a really interesting race. A lot has happened leading up to this race, so let's do a quick little recap of how we got here. Of course, last race was in the West Coast. NASCAR completed the West Coast swing. With the completion of the West Coast swing, Joey Logano won 2 out of the 3 races out there. Alex Bowman won in Fontana, and the Daytona 500, the only other race ran. Denny Hamlin won that race. Of course, during the break for the global hiatus in racing, we had some iRacing action going on. There was controversy from Kyle Larson's comments, so Kyle Larson's out of a ride. Chip Ganassi went with Matt Kenseth, the 2003 Winston Cup champion. He is back racing tonight. And then, of course, Ryan Newman, who is going to be back after his crazy and scary crash at the Daytona 500. My question for you, Kobe, as we're getting ready, of course, we've got along 7 weeks without racing. Does Joey Logano still have any momentum, or is that gone? As this sort of fresh new restart for all the teams today?
In all honesty, I think this is going to be like a brand new season in certain ways because at the beginning of the season, the drivers and teams was starting building chemistry as we started to progress through the season. Then we had a stoppage, and then all of that chemistry kind of died down, and now they're gonna have to start fresh and try to find some new, get some new chemistry going. And although I think Joey Logano is going to be perfectly fine, and him and his number 22 team Penske squad, they're gonna be able to get going again. And also for some drivers whose seasons did not start off the way they wanted to, this is a perfect opportunity to get a second chance to get their season headed in the right direction.
Indeed, and especially one of those drivers that's going to get the season headed in the right direction is Ryan Newman. He was just feet away from winning the Daytona 500 for a second time in his career. Of course, he had that scary accident. He would have missed a lot of more races, about 8 races during the pandemic freeze, but he only missed the West Coast swing. He got some playoff waiver. What do you expect from him today, Ryan Newman in the number 6 car?
I think I think Ryan Newman's gonna have a great day. I'm not gonna give him high expectations his first race back, but I think if Ryan Newman finishes in the top 20 today, it should be considered a great day for the number 6 Roush Fenway Racing Ford Mustang.
Indeed. I know one of the big things everyone's going to be really excited to see Newman back on the track again. One of the other people back in the track for the first time since 2018 in Homestead is Matt Kenseth. Of course, he has a really unique challenge. This is his first time in the car. No practice lap, no qualifying lap. So the first lap of the race, that's his first lap with his brand new car, and he's starting 12th place. What do you think is going to happen with Matt Kenseth today?
I think Matt Kenseth is definitely going to show his veteran savvy, and he's gonna let the race come to him. He's not going to go out and try to force anything early on. Drive as hard as you can and see what happens. I think Matt Kenseth might lose a few positions at the start. Just taking care of the car, getting used to how the car feels in this certain package because he hasn't been on the track in this package with 550 horsepower and with the aero ducts. So Matt Kenseth doesn't have any idea like how his car is gonna handle at the start, and I really believe that Matt Kenseth is gonna have a great day as well, just like Ryan Newman. It's just gonna take a while. It's just gonna take I'm not sure how many laps, but it's gonna take a little while during the early stages of the race. But I think Matt Kenseth is gonna show why he's a NASCAR Cup Series champion, and he's gonna rise to the occasion and give the number 42 Chip Ganassi Racing team a great run throughout the entire season.
It's going to be really interesting because out of all the tracks we're coming back, it's Darlington, the track too tough to tame. Now, up to 2004, Darlington used to host 2 races a year, the springtime and then the fall with the Southern 500. And then, of course, after 2004, they switched to 1 race a year, usually in the Mother's Day. But during those years where they had 2 races, the spring race had always seemed to be the more chaotic race. Just looking at the last few, 2004 had 9 cautions, 2003 7 cautions. Each race prior to had at least 5 cautions, and this was before the introduction of stage breaks, which brings an automatic 2 cautions. The record is 1995, 15 cautions. What do you think is going to happen with today's race? Are we going to see a chaotic race like in the past?
Well, I think anything is possible. Yeah, since these drivers haven't been behind the wheel in over 2 months, yeah, I bet their anxiety is gonna be all built up, and they're gonna be ready to go, and all of these guys are very competitive, and they're gonna be ready to get after it out there. So it wouldn't surprise me one way or the other if we see a very chaotic race with like 5 or more cautions, or a tame race. But I think at this point anything is on the table, and I'm sure regardless whether we see a caution fill race or a least amount of cautions, I think the fans are going to be very excited to see NASCAR back on their televisions.
Yeah, NASCAR will be back on television. Of course, NASCAR will be on Fox, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. The race starts. That's going to be super exciting. And of course, with very little other choices going on TV right now, hopefully we'll see some good numbers in the ratings department. I know I myself, as well as most people, were pretty shocked when we heard that the first race back from the pandemic will be Darlington. What was your reaction when you heard that Darlington was going to be the first race back since the hiatus?
Actually, it really caught me by surprise because I thought we were going to be down for a much longer time. I never expected that we would come back today here on May 17th, 2020, because with the way the world is going right now, I thought things were going to remain shut down for like into the summer. I was thinking maybe we might return to action at the Brickyard 400 on 4th of July weekend, and when they announced that Darlington would be the restart of NASCAR in the middle of May, that caught me by surprise. But it's a welcome surprise because during these crazy unprecedented times, people turn to sports as a way to cope with the things in their lives and to get away from the real world. It serves as a great escape, and by having NASCAR come back, it's definitely going to lift a lot of down spirits.
Indeed, a lot of down spirits, a lot of folks that have been sitting around just waiting for some sort of racing to take place again. I know one of the big things It's just the fact that for the next 3 hours or maybe longer, if it's another chaotic Darlington race, it's just that distraction from everything going on, and especially for race fans. I know it's going to be a little different. Have you ever thought we'll ever see Darlington empty for a race like we're going to see today? Not a single fan in the stand.
Yeah, that's gonna be a really crazy sight to see. Like no fans at all in the grandstands. I think I remember playing the old I forget which NASCAR video game it was, but it was on PS3. Can't remember the year, but you could like practice all by yourselves, and the game had it set up when you were practicing all by yourselves with nobody else. There weren't any fans in the grandstands, and so in a way, it's kind of gonna be like that, which is really crazy and unprecedented. But NASCAR is making the right decisions by racing behind closed doors during this time because we don't want to put any fans at risk of contracting the coronavirus.
Yeah, one of the interesting things, traditionally, this would be the All Star race weekend. In fact, the All Star race was scheduled for yesterday. Of course, looks like that might be postponed or canceled this season. So here we are in Darlington. We're in Darlington today. And then we come back on Wednesday, which brings up the interesting point about the starting order. So today, of course, the top 12 in the owner points all drew the positions 1 through 12, and then 13th through 20th, and so on back. For Wednesday's race, the top 20 will be drawn from positions 1 through 20 Wednesday, and then 21st and back will be drawn for those positions. So it's going to be really interesting. You finish 20th tonight, you got a chance to get the pole just by the luck of a draw. If we came down to a green white checker flag finish, who do you think will be more nervous about losing out? The leader of the race or the person sitting in 20th place?
Oh, sorry, my internet connection went away for a second.
Not a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, but as you were saying, I think the driver in 20th actually might have more pressure on them than the person going for the win because if you're not gonna have a great race today, you definitely want to start off on a good note on Wednesday night when they race the 500-kilometer race, and if you lose positions, you're starting deep in the 20s, and if you don't finish 20th, if you're definitely going to be in some trouble. I mean, well, not necessarily trouble, but you won't have the starting spot that you would have had. So if you're not going to have a great race today, there's at least a reward in finishing just inside the top 20. You'll get a great starting spot for the race on Wednesday night.
Yes, definitely. I know one of the big things about Darlington when it comes to the winner there, 98% of the time the winner has come from starting in the top 10. So definitely when it comes to Wednesday's race, if you can finish 20th or better, you have a really good shot at it. Let's take a look at the top 10 starters for tonight's race. Of course, we can see we got Brett Keselowski. He drew the pole. Jimmy Johnson, and round out the top 10, Denny Hamlin. Now, when it comes to these drivers, one of the things we're going to be talking about is pick a winner. Who do you see as an early favorite?
I'm actually going to go with Brad Keselowski from pole position.
Brad Keselowski, pole position. I know Brad's one of the drivers that has one of the better average finishes there. I think my pick for the race will be Jimmy Johnson. I think the veteran driver that he is, he has 3 wins there, more than any other active driver currently. That experience, that consistency, I think will pay off. Now, one driver we didn't talk about, and he has the best average finish out of any driver, is Eric Jones. He is starting way in the back 20th today. How do you think Eric Jones is going to do today, starting so far back in the field?
I think Eric Jones will work his way up through the field, and it would not surprise me if he's a contender for the win because it's really weird with Eric Jones' situation because he's one of the more younger, inexperienced drivers. I mean he has a couple of years of Cup experience now with Joe Gibbs Racing, and he spent his rookie year at Furniture Row, but with Darlington, it's a like a veterans track. it's a track that more experienced drivers are tend to do well at. And it's really strange because Eric Jones has been really good at Darlington ever since he's been there in a Cup car, and it's really odd to see such a young driver take to such a challenging track like he has in his young career so far.
Yes, and it's one of the things I've noticed. It seems to like it's a little bit missed today. I don't see a whole lot of people talking about are the Joe Gibbs Toyotas. Of course, Denny Hamlin has won the Southern 500 last year. Eric Jones won the Southern 500. Do you think Gibbs and the Toyota teams are a force to be reckoned with today?
Yeah. I think the Gibbs cars will be all right, and they'll be up there. And as we all know by now, Kyle Busch failed pre-race inspection twice, and he's gonna have to come from the rear. But knowing how talented of a driver Kyle Busch is, it would not surprise me if he's in the top 10 by the end of stage one, because Kyle Busch is always gonna get up on the wheel and drive hard.
Indeed. I know we got one fan making a comment on YouTube. We have it's Brad's race to lose today. I hope he doesn't. So it looks like somebody out there. Definitely thank you for watching, of course. One of the big things, of course, with the Darlington race, 400 miles. It's been a while since we saw it, and then 500 kilometers on Wednesday. Now, when it comes to the fitness of these drivers, having a 400-mile race in Darlington, one of the most tough tracks, and then you only have Monday, Tuesday to recruit, and then Wednesday we're back at the track again, same track, Darlington. What do you think is going to be going through the drivers, and how are they going to prepare, especially for so many races in such a short span?
I think all of the drivers are going to be well prepared. But if they kept sticking with their typical routine during this pandemic, and one driver that comes to mind, Jimmy Johnson takes his fitness very seriously, and also Matt DiBenedetto as well. And these drivers are prepared they're prepared to go out and race long races, and we're gonna see a lot of racing in the next 2 weeks. And Kyle Busch, he's gonna be running all 7 races. He's gonna be running all the Cup, Xfinity, and Truck races in the next 2 weeks. So that's gonna be a lot of racing. And we have the Coca-Cola 600 coming up at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And some drivers in the past, they said that after completing 600 miles, they could get out there and go again. So I don't really think that fitness is going to be an issue with the drivers in the field, because they stay fit and eat healthy in order to stay at the top of their game.
Definitely one of the big drivers, of course, that is healthy, does a lot of marathons is Jimmy Johnson as well. A lot of the drivers are very active, as you mentioned. And you do bring up a good point, the Coca-Cola 600. So after Wednesday is the 600-mile race at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Coca-Cola 600. That race will have practice and qualifying all a single day format. But then the finishing results from the Coca-Cola 600 will then be used, similar to the Wednesday Darlington race, drawing for starting positions in the Charlotte race on Wednesday night. When it comes to some of these drivers, and especially the teams out there, we know Gibbs, of course, is going to be a powerhouse. We got Rick Hendrick there, the Chevrolets. They got already one win with Alex Bowman. They've been knocking on the door. Since we talked about this could be a fresh restart for everybody, is there any team you think that could really surprise everybody with a big performance, say a RPM or even a Richard Childress racing?
Actually, I think it might be a good day for Roush Fenway Racing, because Ryan, this is Ryan Newman's return to racing, and he was very lucky to only miss 3 races after that horrifying crash at Daytona, after we all thought the worst. And then a few days later, he's walking out of the hospital with his 2 daughters, which was a great sight to see. And everyone's very excited to see Ryan Newman return to the 6 car. And Chris Buescher has been showing a lot of potential to to be a great Cup driver, as he overachieved driving the 37 car last season. And now he went back home to Roush for this year in the number 17 car. So I think that Roush Fenway Racing could finally start getting back to where they used to be, because their cars are getting much better over time.
Roush Fenway definitely be really great to see, especially if Newman. Everybody's just going to be super excited to see him come back Chris Buescher has been putting together some good runs there. That's been a team that's been around a long time. Of course, we all know Darlington, South Carolina. They also have the National Motorsports um, Museum right there at the track. So there's a lot of vintage vehicles, including, I believe, one of Mark Marquez's vehicles there. And then we have the Southern 500 later on. Do you think any of the notes from today's race will carry over to Wednesday or the fall time, or do you think this is just simply okay? This is the notes we got. This is sort of almost a throwaway race where everything we learned is not valuable.
To be honest, I think they might be able to use some of their notes from the past, especially from the Southern 500 from last fall. But I think that is going to be a clean slate for everyone, and we're gonna see a great show on today and also on Wednesday night when they return for the 500K race.
Yeah, the 500K race, I think that's going to be really entertaining Wednesday. It's going to be really interesting. I know in the past we've seen a lot of folks, especially NASCAR, toy with the idea of a Wednesday race. They've done that with the Truck Series in Bristol. If the Wednesday night race was to catch on beyond 2020, if we start looking at 2021 and beyond, do you think we might see more Wednesday night races if the Wednesday race at Darlington and Charlotte proved to be very successful?
Oh, absolutely. It's been an idea that NASCAR's been throwing around for a while. Having midweek races during the summertime. Maybe like have a short track race on a Wednesday night, like we're going to see with Martinsville, and maybe midweek races during the summer is the future of NASCAR. Yeah, when the fans are able to return, it'll be in the middle of the summer when kids aren't in school, and the whole family can come out on a Wednesday night and have something to do. And when there's nothing to watch on Wednesday night sports wise, there would be a NASCAR race on. So I think that these unprecedented times in this unprecedented situation, it's going to give NASCAR an opportunity to experiment for the future. And if the midweek night races are a success, it would not surprise me if we see more of them in the future.
Yeah, it would be really exciting to see. Especially, I know a lot of folks have been talking about 2021 being a big change. We know it already. The new car for 2021 has been pushed back to 2022. No word yet on the schedule that I've heard of about any drastic changes for 2021 being placed on hold, but definitely it looks like something where we could see maybe midweek races if it's successful. And of course, some folks remember the 2012 Daytona 500 that ran on Monday night, in which Montoya hit the jet dryer. Now I know we already picked our winners. You went with Brad Keselowski. I went with Jamie Johnson. Definitely for all the fans out there watching on YouTube or on Twitter, be sure to use the hashtag GridLive and then put your pick a winner. We love to see because we'll definitely be keeping track of all the fans as well as Kobe and myself on who picks the most winners throughout the race season. And not just for NASCAR. Of course, today we only have NASCAR, but we do have IndyCar coming back June 6th at Texas Motor Speedway. Formula One, MotoGP, everyone's hoping to get going again in the month of June. I know we're just about time to wrap up, so that way folks could get ready for the NASCAR race. Any final thoughts going into tonight's race?
Yes, Joe. I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me to join the Great Live broadcast. It's an incredible opportunity to be here, represent the podium finish the best way I can, and to share my NASCAR wisdom with all of the wonderful fans out there. And I hope everybody sits back and enjoys today's race because you all deserve to smile. And this is the perfect opportunity to unlock the inner happiness that has been trapped inside during this entire pandemic. So hopefully NASCAR puts a smile on your face and and sends happiness into your soul for the rest of the day.
I 100% agree with you. I'm hoping, especially if race fans want to reach out to somebody that has not watched a NASCAR race or any kind of car race before, give that buddy a call. Tell them, hey, check out this NASCAR race. I know you've never seen it, but it's entertaining. It's good stuff, and maybe get some more race fans. Now, of course, 30 minutes after the conclusion of the NASCAR race, we'll be back for our post race program. Kobe and myself will go over the race, some high points, low points as well, especially if this could be a chaotic Darlington race, and then looking forward, as well as the updated grid ranking, which currently Scott McLaughlin for the Australian Supercars lead. Folks, that'll do it for today's program, Grid Life. We thank everyone for watching. Once again, Kobe, thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to have you on board, and we wish everyone a wonderful day. Enjoy the race out there.